Bill Gates hasn't been CEO of Microsoft since 2000. He stepped down from day-to-day operations in 2008. He left the board entirely in 2020. For years, he's been the nice billionaire doing philanthropy, fighting malaria, talking about climate change. But in October 2024, something happened that pulled him back into the Microsoft war room. OneDrive integration in Windows 11 became so aggressive, so invasive, so universally hated that even Bill Gates couldn't stay silent. And when you see what Microsoft is actually doing, when you understand the scale of the user revolt, you'll realize this isn't just a bad feature. This is the moment Microsoft declared war on file ownership, and they're losing badly. If this is your first time here and you want the truth about what big tech is actually doing to your computer, hit subscribe right now because we're exposing things Microsoft desperately doesn't want you to know. The nightmare started quietly in March 2024. Windows 11 gets an update, version 23H2. Buried in the patch notes is one line: improved OneDrive integration for seamless cloud experience. Sounds harmless. What it actually meant was Microsoft fundamentally changed how file storage works in Windows 11. Your desktop, your documents folder, your pictures folder. They're no longer stored on your computer by default. They're automatically redirected to OneDrive cloud storage, whether you want it or not. And here's the truly insane part. Microsoft didn't ask permission. They didn't add a setup screen saying, "Do you want cloud storage?" They just turned it on. Millions of users woke up one morning, opened their computers, and discovered their files were being uploaded to Microsoft servers without consent. The OneDrive icon appeared in File Explorer. The folders showed cloud icons. Upload progress notifications started popping up. People's personal files, family photos, work documents, financial records, medical information, everything getting transmitted to Microsoft Cloud Storage. And for most users, the first sign something was wrong came when their internet slowed to a crawl. Because OneDrive wasn't just uploading a few files, it was uploading everything. Gigabytes, sometimes hundreds of gigabytes, saturating their internet connection. Background uploads running constantly, their bandwidth being consumed by a feature they never enabled, never wanted, and didn't know how to stop. Thomas Reynolds is a freelance video editor in Seattle. He's got a custom-built workstation with 4 terabytes of local storage, filled with project files, raw footage, and finished renders. In April 2024, his internet connection becomes unusable. Streaming buffers constantly, video calls drop, downloads stall. He checks his task manager and sees OneDrive using 95% of his upload bandwidth. He opens OneDrive settings and discovers it's trying to upload 1.8 terabytes of video files to the cloud. He never turned this on. He doesn't want cloud storage. He's got local backups on external drives. But Windows decided for him. His files, his storage, Microsoft's cloud. He spends 2 hours trying to disable it. The settings are deliberately confusing. Turning off OneDrive in settings doesn't actually stop the uploads. You have to unlink your account. But unlinking requires confirming you want to delete the cloud copies, which sounds like it might delete your local files too. The interface is designed to scare you into keeping it enabled. He eventually figures it out, unlinks OneDrive, and discovers it already uploaded 340 gigabytes of his files. Files he owns, now sitting on Microsoft servers. He didn't consent to this. Microsoft didn't ask. They just took his data. He's not using Windows anymore. He switched to Linux with DaVinci Resolve. His computer belongs to him again. Microsoft lost a 15-year Windows user because they decided his files should be their cloud revenue. And this is happening to millions of people. Reddit exploded with posts. Why is OneDrive uploading my files? How do I stop OneDrive sync? My internet is slow because of OneDrive. Windows 11 uploaded my files without permission. The complaints were everywhere. Microsoft's response was worse than the problem. They published a support article explaining that automatic folder redirection is a feature designed to protect your files and provide seamless access across devices. Protect your files by sending them to Microsoft servers. Seamless access you never asked for. They framed taking control of your storage as a benefit. The article explains how to disable it, But the steps are buried in advanced settings. Most users won't find them. That's intentional. Microsoft wants users to give up and accept cloud storage as the new normal. Linda Vasquez is a retired teacher in Florida. She uses her computer for emails, browsing, and storing family photos. She's not tech-savvy. Computers intimidate her, but she manages. In May 2024, she starts getting notifications. OneDrive storage is full. Upgrade to 100 gigabytes for $1.99 per month. She doesn't know what OneDrive is. She didn't sign up for it. Why is she getting charged? She ignores it. The notifications get more aggressive. OneDrive storage full. Some files may not sync. Important files at risk. Upgrade now. She's panicking. Are her files being deleted? She calls her son who lives 2 states away. He remotes in and discovers Windows automatically uploaded 12 gigabytes of her photos to OneDrive. Microsoft gives 5 gigabytes free. Her photos exceeded that, so now Microsoft is holding them hostage unless she pays. She never wanted cloud storage. She doesn't understand cloud storage. Microsoft forced it on her and is now demanding money. Her son disables OneDrive, moves everything back to local storage, and explains what happened. She's furious. She trusted Microsoft. They took her files and tried to extort her. She's 68 years old, and Microsoft treated her like a subscription revenue target, not a customer. Her son bought her a Chromebook with local storage. She's done with Windows forever. Microsoft lost a customer because their greed exceeded basic decency. The free tier trap that monetizes your files. Here's how the scam works. Microsoft gives every user 5 gigabytes of free OneDrive storage. Sounds generous until you realize the average user has way more than 5 gigabytes of files. Photos alone can exceed that. Windows 11 automatically redirects your desktop, documents, and pictures folders to OneDrive. For most people, that's more than 5 gigabytes. Microsoft waits until you exceed the free tier, then hits you with upgrade prompts. Pay $1.99 per month for 100 gigabytes, or pay $6.99 per month for 1 terabyte with Microsoft 365. It's a bait and switch. They give you 5 gigabytes free, force your files into that space without asking, then demand payment when you inevitably exceed it. And here's the truly predatory part. If you don't pay, your files stop syncing. Microsoft warns that unsynchronized files might be at risk. The implication is your files could be lost if you don't upgrade. That's not true. Your local files are fine, but Microsoft phrases it to scare non-technical users into paying. It's ransomware with a subscription model. They take your files, put them behind a paywall, and imply bad things will happen if you don't pay. Jason Miller is a small business owner in Texas. He runs an HVAC repair company with 8 employees. He bought a Windows 11 laptop in June 2024 for office work, invoices, and scheduling. Within 3 weeks, he's getting OneDrive storage full notifications. He doesn't know what that means. He clicks upgrade, enters his credit card, and starts paying $6.99 per month for Microsoft 365. He didn't need Microsoft 365. He uses Google Workspace for email and documents. But Microsoft's prompts made it sound mandatory. He paid for 2 months before his accountant noticed the charges and asked what it was. Jason didn't even know he subscribed. The prompts were so aggressive and confusing, he thought it was required to keep using his computer. He canceled the subscription and disabled OneDrive. Microsoft extracted $14 from him through dark patterns and fear tactics. That's $14 multiplied by millions of confused users. Microsoft is generating hundreds of millions in revenue by tricking people into subscriptions they don't need for a service they never wanted. The privacy nightmare nobody consents to. Then there's the privacy disaster. When Microsoft uploads your files to OneDrive, those files are stored on Microsoft servers. Microsoft's privacy policy states they can access your files for security purposes, legal compliance, and service improvement. Service improvement means AI training. Your files, your documents, your photos, they become data Microsoft can analyze. Copilot AI needs training data. Where does it get that data? From the billions of files users uploaded to OneDrive. Microsoft's terms of service include language allowing them to scan and analyze cloud-stored content. They claim it's anonymized and aggregated, but you're trusting Microsoft to handle your private files responsibly when they just force those files into their cloud without asking. Emma Watson, not the actress, a paralegal in Chicago, handles sensitive legal documents daily: client contracts, court filings, confidential case notes. In July 2024, she discovers Windows uploaded 40 gigabytes of work files to OneDrive automatically. That's client-privileged information. That's confidential legal material. It's now sitting on Microsoft servers. She didn't authorize this. Her law firm didn't authorize this. Microsoft decided her confidential legal documents should be stored in their cloud. She immediately contacts her supervising attorney and explains what happened. The attorney contacts IT. IT confirms Windows 11's OneDrive integration uploaded files from multiple employees without authorization. The firm is potentially in violation of client confidentiality agreements because Microsoft took their files without consent. The firm disables OneDrive across all computers, files a formal complaint with Microsoft, and begins migrating to Mac. 47 employees, all new MacBooks. Cost to the firm, $94,000. Cost to Microsoft, a law firm client and a potential lawsuit for unauthorized data access. But here's what makes this a systemic problem. Microsoft's terms of service include forced arbitration clauses. You can't sue them. Any disputes go to private arbitration where Microsoft has the advantage. They designed the system so even when they violate user trust, users have no legal recourse. The law firm is one of the few with resources to fight. Normal users are helpless. The bandwidth theft ruining internet connections. The OneDrive background upload is a bandwidth destroyer. Microsoft defaults to unlimited upload speed, meaning OneDrive will consume 100% of your available upload bandwidth if it can. For most home internet users, upload speed is much slower than download speed. Cable internet might give you 300 megabits per second download, but only 10 megabits per second upload. OneDrive maxing out that 10 megabits destroys your internet experience. Video calls become unusable. Zoom, Teams, Google Meet, they all need upload bandwidth. When OneDrive is saturating your connection, your video freezes, audio cuts out, calls drop. Online gaming becomes unplayable. Games need stable upload for sending player inputs to servers. OneDrive interference causes lag spikes, disconnections, and ruined competitive matches. Even basic browsing suffers. Websites load slowly because your connection is choked, and most users don't know why. They just know their internet suddenly got terrible. Carlos Rodriguez is a high school student in California. He's into competitive Fortnite, plays in online tournaments, practices daily. In August 2024, his game performance tanks. Ping spikes from 20 milliseconds to 300 milliseconds randomly. Matches become unplayable. He checks every setting, restarts his router, calls his ISP. Nothing helps. His dad is a network engineer. He runs diagnostics and discovers OneDrive is uploading 47 gigabytes in the background. Carlos never turned on OneDrive. Windows 11 did it automatically. His gameplay suffered for 3 weeks because Microsoft decided his files should be uploaded without asking and without limiting bandwidth usage. His dad disables OneDrive, and the connection is instantly perfect again. Carlos lost tournament matches because of this. He's a teenager who might have a future in esports, and Microsoft sabotaged him to push cloud subscriptions. His dad is a tech professional, and he's done with Windows. The family's next computers are Macs. Microsoft lost a multi-generational customer relationship because their greed extended even to sabotaging kids' gaming. The small business destruction, forced cloud migration. Small businesses are getting destroyed by this. Imagine running a company with 20 employees. You've got file servers, shared drives, local backups, everything working fine. Then you upgrade to Windows 11, and suddenly every employee's computer is trying to upload their local files to OneDrive. That's 20 computers simultaneously uploading potentially terabytes of data. Your office internet grinds to a halt. Work stops. Emails won't send. Cloud apps won't load. VoIP phones cut out. Your entire business is crippled because Microsoft decided everyone needs cloud storage. And here's the nightmare for IT departments: OneDrive sync conflicts. When multiple employees work on shared files stored locally, OneDrive tries to sync them to individual cloud accounts. That creates duplicate files, version conflicts, and data corruption. IT has to manually resolve these conflicts, wasting hours of productivity. Michelle Carter runs a dental practice in Michigan with 15 employees. They've got patient records, insurance claims, and appointment schedules on a local server. High-pay compliant, secure, backed up nightly. In September 2024, the office manager calls her in a panic. The server is inaccessible, and patient records aren't opening. Michelle's IT contractor investigates and finds OneDrive created sync conflicts. Employees' computers tried uploading patient files to personal OneDrive accounts. That's a HIPAA violation. Patient health information transmitted to unsecured personal cloud storage without authorization. Michelle's practice is now potentially liable for regulatory fines. The IT contractor spends 12 hours cleaning up the mess, disabling OneDrive on all workstations, restoring files from backup, and documenting the incident for compliance reporting. The disruption cost Michelle $8,000 in IT fees and lost productivity, and she's one of the lucky ones. Some practices lost files permanently. She's switching the entire office to Linux. 15 workstations migrated to Ubuntu with local file management and no Microsoft Cloud integration. Microsoft lost a healthcare customer because they violated medical privacy regulations with forced cloud uploads. The education disaster: students losing work. Students are getting hit hard. Universities and schools often provide OneDrive storage to students as part of Microsoft 365 education subscriptions. That sounds useful until you realize what happens when students graduate. When a student graduates, their school email account gets deactivated. That OneDrive account tied to the school email gets deleted. If Windows 11 automatically redirected their files to that OneDrive, their files get deleted when they graduate. 4 years of college work, projects, research, notes, everything gone. Microsoft warns students to back up files before graduation, but most students don't know their files are in OneDrive. Windows did it automatically without explaining the consequences. Tyler Brooks graduated from Ohio State in May 2024 with a degree in engineering. He spent 4 years building a portfolio: CAD models, simulation data, project documentation. Everything stored on his laptop, or so he thought. Windows 11 had redirected everything to his university OneDrive. 2 weeks after graduation, his school account was deactivated. He opens his laptop and discovers his desktop is empty. Documents folder is empty. 4 years of work gone. He didn't back it up because he didn't know it was in the cloud. He thought his files were local. Microsoft's automatic redirection deleted his college portfolio. He contacts the university IT department. They explain that once the account is deactivated, files are held for 30 days, then permanently deleted. He's within the window. They restore his OneDrive access temporarily, and he frantically downloads everything. He got lucky. Thousands of students don't. They discover the problem after the 30-day window. Their work is gone forever. Tyler is using Linux for grad school. He'll never trust Microsoft with his files again. The sync errors destroying files. OneDrive sync isn't reliable. Users report constant sync errors, file corruption, and data loss. Microsoft's own support forums are filled with complaints. Files uploaded to OneDrive sometimes don't match the local versions. Edits get lost. Entire folders disappear. And when sync errors occur, OneDrive's solution is often to delete the local file and re-download from the cloud. If the cloud version is corrupted or outdated, you've lost your work. Jessica Pham is a PhD student in neuroscience at Stanford. She's writing her dissertation, 240 pages of research, citations, data analysis. She works on it daily. In October 2024, she opens her dissertation file and discovers the last 2 weeks of work are gone. The document reverted to an old version. She didn't do this. OneDrive did. Sync conflict occurred. OneDrive decided the cloud version was correct and overwrote her local file. 2 weeks of writing, 18 pages of new content, vanished. She checks OneDrive version history. The recent versions aren't there. OneDrive didn't save them. She lost 2 weeks of PhD work because Microsoft's sync service failed. She spent 3 days reconstructing what she could from memory and notes. She'll never get those exact pages back. She disabled OneDrive immediately and switched to local storage with manual backups to external drives. When she defends her dissertation, she'll be using a MacBook. Microsoft lost a future scientist because their cloud service destroyed her research. And this isn't rare. OneDrive file loss is common enough that data recovery companies now advertise OneDrive recovery services. Think about that. The problem is so widespread that businesses exist specifically to fix Microsoft's cloud failures. The corporate rebellion, enterprises rejecting OneDrive. Enterprises are rejecting this. Large companies with IT departments see exactly what Microsoft is doing, and they're not accepting it. OneDrive for Business integrates with Windows 11 the same way consumer OneDrive does. Automatic folder redirection, background uploads, bandwidth consumption. But enterprises have different concerns: data sovereignty, compliance, security. Many companies are legally prohibited from storing data on third-party clouds. Financial institutions, healthcare providers, government contractors, they have regulations requiring data stay on premises. Microsoft's forced OneDrive integration violates those regulations. IT departments have to spend time and resources disabling OneDrive across entire organizations. Group policies, registry edits, system images with OneDrive removed. It's a fight against Microsoft's defaults. And companies are tired of fighting. Global Bank, a financial institution with 12,000 employees, upgraded to Windows 11 in early 2024. Their IT department immediately discovered OneDrive trying to sync employee computers to cloud storage. That's a regulatory violation. Banking data cannot leave on-premises servers without encryption and compliance approval. IT disabled OneDrive company-wide using group policy, but the next Windows update re-enabled it. Microsoft pushed OneDrive activation through updates, overriding IT policies. Global Bank's IT team had to implement additional security measures, blocking OneDrive at the network level, preventing it from connecting to Microsoft servers. That's a major organization fighting its own operating system. Global Bank's CTO presented a report to the board. Windows 11. OneDrive integration poses compliance risks, consumes IT resources, fighting Microsoft's cloud push. And Microsoft has proven they'll override enterprise policies to force cloud adoption. Recommendation: begin migration to Linux for non-specialized workstations. The board approved a 5-year plan to migrate 60% of workstations to Linux. That's 7,200 computers leaving Windows. Microsoft's enterprise revenue from Global Bank, approximately $4 million annually. Gone. Because Microsoft prioritized consumer cloud subscriptions over enterprise trust. The Bill Gates emergency meeting. This is where Bill Gates comes in. Bill hasn't been involved in Windows development for over a decade. He's focused on the Gates Foundation, climate change, pandemic preparedness. But in November 2024, Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO, calls him. The conversation isn't public, but sources inside Microsoft say Nadella needed Bill's perspective. Windows 11 adoption is stalling. OneDrive backlash is accelerating Linux and Mac migration. Enterprise clients are threatening to leave. Regulatory agencies in Europe are investigating OneDrive data practices. And users are angrier than they've been since Windows 8. Bill Gates reportedly told Nadella that Microsoft is repeating the same mistake they made with Windows 8, forcing changes users don't want and refusing to listen to feedback. Windows 8's Metro interface was hated. Microsoft insisted it was the future, ignored user complaints, and adoption suffered. Windows 10 fixed it by bringing back the Start menu and giving users choice. Windows 11 is doing the opposite, removing choice, forcing cloud integration, telling users Microsoft knows what's best for them. Amanda Reeves is a graphic designer in Nashville. She used Windows exclusively for 15 years, built custom PCs, loved the flexibility. In September 2024, OneDrive uploaded 200 gigabytes of her design files without permission. She spent a week fighting with settings, disabling features, editing registries. She got it working, but the next Windows update re-enabled OneDrive. She snapped. She walked into an Apple store and bought a Mac Studio and a MacBook Pro, $5,000 total. She's switching her entire workflow. She's done with Microsoft. She never thought she'd buy a Mac, but Microsoft pushed her to it. Apple gained a customer because Microsoft couldn't respect user choice. And this is happening across the industry. Microsoft's OneDrive aggression is the best sales tool Apple has. The cloud-first future nobody wants. Microsoft's vision is a future where your computer is just a terminal. Files live in the cloud. Applications run in the cloud. Your local device is just a screen and keyboard accessing Microsoft's servers. Everything you do is monitored, analyzed, and monetized. They call it the intelligent cloud and intelligent edge. It sounds futuristic. In reality, it's a dystopia where you don't own anything. You rent access to your files. You rent access to your software. You pay monthly fees forever. And if you stop paying, you lose access to everything.